airflow into the radiators to try to cool down those temperatures.
Bobby Unser?
Well, one of the biggest problems is we don't even have a breeze today, and all the air sits down in between these two rows of cement, and each time the cars go around, it gets a little bit hotter. Another thing about the Penske cars that are different from the Lola cars is they use a heat exchanger, Paul, which is a way that the oil transfers its heat to the water, and the water transfers its heat out via a radiator. So a heat exchanger as opposed to an oil cooler with the Lolas. Now, if that doesn't make enough sense, I'll be glad to explain it more. But often, the heat exchangers don't run quite as cool.
And here, on a hot day, temperatures in the 90s in downtown Denver, it makes a world of difference. And there is Roberto Guerrero, some blue vapor at the back of the car. It appears that that machine may be in trouble. He was running in 9th place when he last crossed over the start-finish line, and now he rolls to a stop in what most definitely would appear to be the end of the day.
Well, it's a blown engine. There's no question about that. You can just see that smoke's coming out as both oil and water. The bad news the driver doesn't want to know about.
The yellow flag that you see waving there is for the local situation. It would not be a full course yellow, so we would not see a closing up. Al Unser, in other words, so you see here on the left of the screen, his lead will be protected by this situation.
Al Unser Jr. runs out in front and has a solid advantage over second place Emerson Fittipaldi. This week, Al Unser Jr. will have an opportunity to test his brand new car, the Galmer chassis. We asked him about it.
The expectations are, I hope that it runs quicker than the Lola. I think that's the first thing that we need to do, and the main reason why that is because the majority of my competitors are in Lola chassis, and you know, nothing is better than a mechanical advantage over your competition, and so we strive for that kind of deal, and now we've got the new car. Hopefully it'll do that first, and then we'll see how the reliability is of it.
So that new car, there's his wife Shelley. The car is available to him. I suspect, Bobby Unser, that Bobby Rahall's failure here today will affect some of that car's testing schedule, because wouldn't it have been logical for Gallus to say, hey, let's use that car toward the end of the year once we're way ahead in points?
No, they won't do that. They can't afford to. They've already shown it to the public and, of course, to the other racers to some degree. They can't let everything out on that car and show it around the racetrack, and it's going to take a while to develop it. It's very seldom that a car is good right off the bat, number one. Number two, just think how much Rick Gallus must have spent to try to give little Alan Rahal a mechanical advantage. It's probably costing him many millions of dollars to build that car.
Al Unser Jr. with a new car coming and no cheat. As throughout the field, there are some nice little fights. This one not for position, but Scott Pruitt just had to handle up Scott Brayton. And just behind Scott Brayton now is Buddy Lazier and then Willie T. Ribbs. Willie Ribbs is running in 7th place and trying to catch up to the 6th place Scott Pruitt. But he does have 2 cars in between himself and Pruitt as he tries to make up the position. At the front of the field is Al Unser Jr. He is being chased, though not closely, by Emerson Fittipaldi. Mario Andretti is up and running in 3rd place right now. And there you see Willie T get past quite smoothly. Michael Andretti runs in 5th place behind 4th place Eddie Cheever. Then Scott Pruitt and Willie T. Ribbs, a battle that is developing here and now.
Well, it's a good battle, and you wouldn't tell any difference between that and a 1st place and 2nd place fight, Paul. But the race is not over. Still got a long ways to go. If these guys didn't race like that, they wouldn't look so good at the end of the year. And a lot of people, car owners, sponsors, everybody are looking at these drivers right now, especially like Buddy Lazier right there. He's new.
As they keep track of Al Unser Jr. and the Gallus-Craco pits. The other story that we've started at the beginning of this show, and we'll keep an eye on Sam Posey, is Michael Andretti, who tangled with Bobby Rahal, had trouble getting restarted, had that terrible problem with his tire, but got going again. You ride with him now, and as you do so, you ride in 5th place. So Michael Andretti is trying to carve his way back up through this field and get as many points as he possibly can. If possible, perhaps he'd like to challenge Al Unser Jr. for the lead once again. We're past the halfway point. 43 laps are complete. Al Unser Jr. still leads. Black smoke, that indicates there's a fire there, and Sullivan ready to abandon the cockpit. He just had a stop-and-go penalty. He's trying to wave the fire crews over to give him a hand and get the fire out on that car.
That's the paint burning. The paint first started burning, and now, of course, the body, the carbon fiber type material in the body is burning. It's from heat, and when you stop it that quick, I may have blown an engine or something, we don't know about that. But when you stop that quick, the fire just goes, or the heat just goes right to the paint, and it just explodes with fire.
So Danny Sullivan helps the firefighters protect his own race car. And, of course, the faster you get that fire out, the more parts in there. And since all those parts are real expensive, you want to get it out quickly.
Well, Paul, ironically, the hood could cost them, easily $20,000. So every second would count on that. It would pretty soon become a deal of dollars and cents.
What an ideal moment. It's a full course yellow. Al Unser Jr., you saw the hoses out ready for his pit stop. Here's a break definitely in favor of the leader.
Well, as they go full course yellow now, with Danny Sullivan's problem on the course, here is the man that benefits, Al Unser Jr., as he rolls down the pit road. And Al Unser Jr. has a solid lead in this race, a full 41 seconds over Emerson Fittipaldi as he rolls in now. The rest of the cars in the field taking advantage as well. The pit stop, it appears to be routine, an extra special precautionary check to make sure there are no debris in the coolers that are so critical here. Rick Mears is in the pits as well as he makes his stop. It is 16.3 seconds in and out for little Al as he comes out alongside of Rick Mears. Danny Sullivan's car, totally disabled now, sits by the edge of the course, and that, of course, is the reason for the full course yellow.
Well, we almost saw a wreck leaving the pits again, Paul. Little Al was passing Emerson Fittipaldi, and you could tell Emo still doesn't have a lot of rear brakes because he locked up the brakes. The camera went away just right there.
Danny's situation, as we go back just a few laps and review it, suddenly Danny came off the line and began slowing down. Sullivan, remember, with that Alfa Romeo power, and he got punched.
Well, he did. He had no power. The car right behind him really didn't think that he was going to slow down like that. And, of course, in anticipation of Danny accelerating, he accelerated and punched him a little bit.
Any idea who that was that came up behind him there?
I couldn't see it, Paul.
Very difficult to tell. Nevertheless, you've got Danny Sullivan with one very expensive car covered now in that chemical powder that helps fight the fires, and the kart safety team is there with a little extra light water on the car to make sure the fire is out.
Often on road circuits, something like that will happen, especially a really tight one like here in Denver, when you really kind of have to anticipate what the other driver's going to do so you can react to it. Otherwise, you couldn't stay very competitive with it, and that's what happened. He was coming off the turn, Danny lost his power, and kaboom, he punched him. But Danny already had problems anyway.
So Mario Andretti, there he circles in third place now. The lineup under this full course yellow, and it'll take him a little bit for the field to gather up behind Johnny Rutherford's BPG pace car, is Al Unser Jr., then Emerson Fittipaldi, then Mario Andretti, and then Eddie Cheever. Then Michael Andretti runs in fifth place. Let's take another look here, see if we can figure out exactly what happened. Bobby Unser.
Well, you can just watch Danny going inside of it. Looks like Rick Mears there. Rick Mears, and there comes the car behind him, which I can't tell by the color who it is. But right there, he just barely punched Danny right in the rear end. Wasn't a hard hit, just a little bit too much. The car right behind us to the left now was still locking up his brakes an awful lot.
Looked to be Michael Andretti that came up there so quickly. And the question of whether or not he actually touched Danny Sullivan, it sure looked like it from here. 46 laps are now complete of the 70 laps scheduled here in the Texaco Havoline Grand Prix of Denver, and Al Unser Jr. leads it. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Texaco cars, in fact, Michael Andretti with just a smudge of black on the nose of his car, which could in fact indicate some contact with a car of Danny Sullivan. Now, this is the onboard camera